Now that we have learned about the rectangular array, we need to learn about the polar array. There are many more options on the polar array than there are on the rectangular array. So again, I'm going to use my Array Classic. I could go to the pull down, but again, I'm more of a visual person, so I prefer to use the graphic box. So in this case, up here we want to click on polar, and you notice that the box itself changed. But we're going to basically start out the same way. We still have to select what objects we want to array. This is going to be my center, and I want to array this circle around this center circle. So I'm going to select objects, and I'm going to select this circle and hit enter. And now it says, what do you want to use for a center point? So I can either put in a number if I know that, or I can do pick a point. So I'm going to pick, and I'm going to pick the center of this other circle. So now you'll see those numbers change to the numbers of that circle center. Here is where we have options. We have 3 different methods that we can do this based on what information we have. If I go to the pull down, you'll see those 3 options. We're going to start with the first one. It says total number of items and angle to fill. So I have to know, in this case, how many items I want, and then I have to tell, do I want it to go 360 degrees? Do I want it to only go 180 degrees? Do I want it to go 22 degrees? How many degrees or angles do I want that to fill? So I'm going to put in 8 items, and I'm going to do 360. Now again, over here in the picture, I can kind of see what that's going to look like. You notice I am using circles and it's represented by rectangles, but it still gives me an idea. You'll notice that angle between items is grayed out because it's automatically calculating that based off of what I have here. If I change this number to 9, you'll see that change to 40. If I change it to 10, again, my picture changed, but also the angle between the items changed. So I'm going to leave it at 10. And now that I have everything selected, again, I always still, even though I can see it over here, I still want to do a preview because my items may be a little bit different than what's in the preview. So you'll see right now they're kind of overlapping each other. Maybe I don't want them to do that. So I'm going to hit escape. And I'm going to change it to 9 items, and I'm going to do a preview, and they're still overlapping. So I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to put it back down to 8 items, and now I'm going to do a preview, and they're not touching each other. So that's acceptable, so I'm going to hit enter. So that is one way to do the polar array. So I'm going to do undo, and I'm going to go back to my Array Classic. And again, it's on polar array. I'm going to select my object. And I'm going to pick the center point. And this time I'm going to go to the second one. And this one says the total number of items and the angle between the items. So this time you'll notice that the angle to fill is actually grayed out. So if I have 8 items and the angle between the items is 45, it's going to fill 315 degrees. If I change this to 50, you'll see it changes to 350. If I change it to 55, you'll see it's going to go to 360. And it changed my total number of items because the maximum I can go is 360. I want to go 45, and I'm going to go 7 items, and that only takes me to 270, so I'm going to go to 9 because I want to go completely the 360 degrees. So I need to go back to 10. So if I do 10 with an angle between at 36, it's going to go the complete circle around. So again, I'm going to do preview, and it went all the way around, but they are overlapping each other again. So I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to change this to 9, and now I'm going to do a preview. So now they still stay overlapping, they just can go all the way around. So again, depending on what information I have will determine what I want to do. The other thing that I have to think about on any of these is that point that it's going to center around. So say instead of picking the center point, I pick this quadrant point. And now I do a preview, and you see it does a totally different placement of these items. It based it off of this being the center point. So I have to make sure I know what my center point is. I have to make sure I know how many items, or the angle to fill, or the angle between the items. I'm going to go back and do my pick point and put it back on the center again. And I'm going to go to the last one. The last one is angle to fill and the angle between the items. So if I want to fill 360 at 36 degrees, actually I'm going to change that to 25 degrees. You'll see how it looks in the picture, and it means it's going to give me a number of 14 items. And again, that is grayed out to where I cannot select that. So I'm going to do a preview, and you'll see how it did the layout. If I take that back to 30 degrees and do a preview, then it looks like that. If I take this to 50 degrees and I do a preview, it does like that. So again, I have to use my critical thinking and my problem solving skills to determine which situation that I have here before I can use this polar array command. And again, I always want to do a preview. If I like what I see, I can just hit enter and accept it. So that is the polar array. Next, we will look at the path array.